Hi, I'm Barbara Crawley. I was Barbara Dunnigan back in those days. You might remember that name.
Linda Bridges. All three of us were board members.
Sharon Rose.
And we began in the early 70s. Ann Blackwell had put an ad in the newspaper about an exercise class for women. And I saw it, Sharon saw it, I had called Linda, we had known each other, and we came and met Ann, and Ann was doing an exercise class for women, but it was based on ballet, which Ann had done since she was a child. And so we came and started taking exercise classes with her for about a year, maybe a year and a half even. And Ann's mother was still living in Greenville, South Carolina, and ran a ballet company there.
The Greenville Civic Ballet.
Yeah. And then her mom moved to Rock Hill to live with Ann and her family. And they started talking about doing a joint production of the Nutcracker, because the Greenville Civic Ballet had been doing it for some time. And before you knew it, we were on the board, one of the first boards, and Ann called in a lot of neighborhood people. We had people from Winthrop. We had people who were in the Arts Council, and everybody came together to form this, to form the ballet company, and then to do the joint production of the Nutcracker, which we did, I think, for several years before the Rock Hill Ballet Company started doing it on its own.
The original name was the Rock Hill Concert Ballet.
Concert Ballet, yeah. At first, a lot of us in the exercise class were going to just be the adults in the ballroom scene of the Nutcracker. And I know Sharon enlisted her sons not only to be in the ballroom scene, but to help make. We did everything from have the programs printed to making the
sleigh,
all kind
and the
of
clock in my garage.
Yeah, so many things. Putting up posters. If you were on the board in those days, you also did anything that came up. Mm-hmm. But a lot of us then went on to do, I know Sharon and Linda did, went on to do different things in some of the productions. And it was just a great time, even if you were around Miss McClellan for any length of time. She was the kind of old school teacher, and you would hear "feel the floor" and "get those arms up."
I don't want to hear any
no noise,
points.
no noise. But the greatest thing for me was she taught me so much about ballet productions. And as in some years later, when I went to see Baryshnikov in Charlotte and realized what a deal that was, not to be in New York, but to see him there, and to realize what a genius he was, because after you realize the mechanics and Ann brought in one summer a
Michael Mall.
He was from the
and-
Allen Amy School in New York.
Yes, and he came in and did a master class. So really, I think the local dancers got exposed to things they never would have,
Right.
had that not happened.
Well, I think one of the things too that was a real cultural help to this area, because it was Rock Hill was a small town then,
Yeah.
but was when we offered it to the schools.
Yes.
And we didn't charge them anything. All we did was ask the schools to bus the children, and we did matinees.
Yes.
And every time Ann pointed her toe, the children just cheered. I mean, it would just be, you would think they were
Not
adults and
seen
understood.
anything, yeah.
But we would do, the matinees. We did it 2 or 3 years, I think, and they bus the school children in to see it.
I just remembered I had some relatives come in from Charlotte. And of course, Charlotte has always had the Nutcracker and the singing Christmas tree and so many things. But after seeing this production of us, especially the first couple of years with Greenville, they just couldn't believe a small town could have anything of that level, that quality. I mean, it was just amazing. But those early days were funny, trying to do rehearsals, and the costumes were fabulous.
Miss McClellan had them made in Greenville,
Yeah,
and they were shipped to us.
yeah. And in later years, Ann's husband, Dean,
Did it.
he was making costumes, so it grew, and I think we changed our locations I don't know how many times.
Oh,
yeah. Sharon was asking me today coming over here, oh, do you remember when it was here? Do you remember when it was there? And of course you do now, but she kept moving the studio around. I guess rent changed and requirements changed.
Well, the people changed. We got more people. And
Oh, yeah.
That
Needed
one little studio
larger
we started
facility.
in couldn't hold
Is that on
everybody.
Main Street?
Yeah, right across from
West
Wilson's.
Wilson's
Yeah.
Nursery in a
Mhm.
little bitty building.
Right.
But I was amazed at, again, the quality with Ann and her mother's instruction, the quality that came out. And we had, I can remember a lot of girls from York and Sharon and
Clover.
Clover here.
When Mrs. McClellan was young, I think that she danced in New York.
She did.
And then when the Depression hit, she ended up selling tickets to get into not ballet. I don't think the ballet was going during the Depression. So, but just some sort of Broadway shows maybe. And then after that is when she moved to Greenville. But so she had so much knowledge and experience, and she expected us to live up to her
same.
expectations.
Exactly.
I don't know how many
exactly.
times that she told me when I'd be on point, Sharon, get rid of those knees.
Yeah. She was a little taskmaster.
Yes, she was.
And I remember too that the girls, even though they were from different areas, this gave them another place to really come together. So you weren't from here and from there, and you went to different schools, and of course, but they got to know each other well. They remained friends, I think, well into adulthood.
Well, I think it they talk about theatrical troupes.
Yeah.
And I think they really became a ballet troupe.
Yeah.
We
And
all did.
actually, a couple of those girls went on to do more with
They
ballet.
did. I remember
Regina had her, didn't she have an own
She had her
her
own
own
studio.
and Barbara
Barbara
Bennett
Bentley.
went
She
to
went
the
on.
That
went
was
to
our
the
slave.
School
Did
of
you
the
see it?
Arts.
the one we made?
Went to the School of the Arts in Winston-Salem. They developed so well here that they were, they could get into a better school. And
But
I
even if they didn't take the ballet further, the things they gained from the experience of being on stage with the self-confidence and the poise would help
Yeah.
them throughout life. That spring concert.
But again, I think people were surprised. The productions were held over at Winthrop and the Burns Auditorium, and
It was packed.
And it was packed.
people
packed
that had never been to a ballet because it was their child or their grandchild or somebody that they ran into that was in it showed up, and they were like surprised. It was like, hey, this is pretty good. And I think again, when I had people to come in and say, this is a small town and you did this level of production, it was really good.
I think it was something that we were all proud of.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were- I was not much of a dancer at that time, but I was great in the ballroom scene because all you had to do was kind of walk and say, and fan your fan. I think we were all excited and hesitant too because this was something totally brand new. And I had taken ballet as a child in Charleston, and I remember that I took dancing when couldn't have been more than 5 or 6, at the Dock Street Theater in Charleston. And the lady, believe this or not, I remember her name, Miss Mamie Forbes. And she had a staff. She had a piano player too, but she had a staff. And she would beat the rhythm out on the floor with that staff. Used to scare the heck out of me. I just knew she was going to hit me with it. But I've always loved ballet. It's so beautiful, so graceful.
I'm Regina Inman. From the video, you know me as Regina Davis. Years back, I got involved with the company, heard of the audition, and decided I'd go try and see what it was about. We did an audition, and I think they chose 5 dancers that day. So we didn't have enough dancers to do a full-length ballet. So that's how we ended up going to Greenville, because Ms. McClellan and Ann were from Greenville and had just moved here. So we went back to rehearse with their company on one Saturday, and then Greenville would come here, and we would rehearse the Nutcrackers, where we started, of course, and we would rehearse here the next Saturday. So we would go back and forth all season until it was production time, and then we did a production there in Greenville, probably 2 nights, I don't remember, but it's been a while. And then we'd come to Rock Hill and do the productions here, with Greenville coming this way. So that's how that section started, or how the early days started. That would have been probably 1978. That was the first year, I believe I'm right. So 78, way back, too long to remember. So that's how we started. That's how the company started, and then slowly we added more. The school, Ann had a school here, Miss McClellan had a studio, so they trained more dancers, and that's how we ended up getting enough dancers eventually to do a full production just with Rock Hill dancers and York County dancers. What this offered York County was an opportunity for quality dance productions, ballet. We had studios in the area, but nobody had taken on this project or had this vision for Rock Hill, but Rock Hill was getting big enough, and they thought, let's try it. So it became very successful. They did quality productions at Winthrop. Sound was done with professionals. The sets, the snow, they ordered snow. We actually had it snowing on stage, and so there was a board of directors. I mean, they did it right. So everything was first rate. Nothing was skimped on. Had photography coming in, as you can see, lots of great shots for the newspapers, the publicity. So Rock Hill was ready for it. It was large enough, and there started the Rock Hill Ballet. The Rock Hill Concert Ballet was what it was originally called, I think. And of course, later, when we realized how many were from more than just Rock Hill, they wanted to incorporate the York County name, which was really one of the great opportunities. It brought kids and dancers and teachers from all parts of the county to dance together. So we were learning all about full-length ballets. It was such an opportunity for that, doing a full-length ballet, not just short variations or that you would do in a studio dance recital type thing. It was the full ballet. So it was a great opportunity for that, because that would not have happened without the company here. So learning about the entire ballets, pushing yourself to do 2 hours worth of choreography, and it was an undertaking, and it was a commitment. And the kids that I think did it, me including myself, of course, I think it taught us a lot about ourselves, how to stick with something, how to make it the best it could be, how to make something beautiful, make something memorable, make something that was worthwhile, that people would enjoy. So, and that the county would be proud of, and even the state. So Mary Long, I know, was there the night we first started doing the Nutcracker, teaching us how to do professional makeup on a stage the size of Burns. That's a very big space, so makeup had to be a particular way. So she was there. In some of these photos, you'll see her painting makeup on everybody's little face, one at a time. So she was wonderful. It was wonderful working with her and getting to meet she and her husband. And then we had Winthrop professors, Winthrop teachers. Dottie and Blair Beasley were professional actors, were asked to be part of a lot of the ballroom scenes and character actors like that, and they were just fabulous to watch. So we got to see lots of professionals and learn from them. Of course, like not just in a classroom, this was actual in the moment, and putting together something that was quality production.
When you look, you can see it's not play school. These kids are all intense. Do you notice in the eyes? They're intense and they're paying attention. They're not playing.
It took an extreme amount of concentration to not only remember the patterns that I remember getting lost one time on stage, the steps, the patterns, where your arms, where everything's supposed to be, and it just took that kind of concentration, and that's what I think you see in their eyes.
Well, and it's like I was saying before, you know, I had certainly never been in any production, drama or dance or anything else. So the first time we're on the stage at Winthrop, and they're saying exit right, exit left, watch out for this, watch out for that. And of course you realize all about that time too, you can walk off that stage and into the orchestra pit in a heartbeat. And I think that was another thing they learned, that this is, you know.
Well, you learned your place.
Yeah, and this is the big time.
And your
this
space.
is how, and if you need to accommodate, I can't remember, but at one time something happened and the dancers around, whatever it was, they just all in unison just stepped back, went back into third position.
It looked planned.
It did. It was beautiful how much these girls had drilled to a point they could accommodate, you know, if something happened.
"42 years later, here we are watching these funny little pictures of all of us spinning and twirling and creating such memories that none of us will ever forget. It was a good time. It was a good time. I know I can't speak for everyone, but if I could, I think they would all say the same thing I'm thinking here. What a great part of our lives, what a great part of York County's history. And we're just so thankful for being a part of that, or having the opportunity to watch that unfold and leave something for, you know, the next generations and something to build on. So there's a quote from Winnie the Pooh that says, it goes something like, "I wish we could go back to page 1 and start all over again. That would be great. I'd do it again. I think everybody in this video would do it again."